In this video, we're going to be talking about 4 different kinds of blocks that will help you route your workflow in various ways. We're talking about the menu block, the jump block, the logic block, and the checkpoint block. Let's go ahead and get started. You can see here I have an AI project, and in this project I have 5 different workflows. Each workflow is going to showcase one of these routing blocks. So let's go ahead and start with the menu block. So the menu block is pretty straightforward. It creates a menu that is then presented to the end user. You can see here that I have 3 paths that I could have the user take when they run this AI agent. And to configure the menu block, you'll simply add a label here at the top. So we could say, what would you like to do? And then we can add our options here. You can add new options by clicking on the plus button. So there's 1, 2, 3, and we can say our different options. So generate text, we can say generate image, and we can say generate video. And the way that we link each of these paths up is by clicking on the dot next to the option. So let's go ahead and click on generate text, and then we'll select the block we'd like to route it to. So in this case, it's going to be the generate text block. Then we're going to do the same thing for generate image. We'll click on the dot and then click on the generate image block. And lastly, generate video, we'll click on the dot and click on the generate video block. And now when we go ahead and open up the draft agent, we will be presented with this multiple choice menu, and we can select which one we'd like to do. So if I'd like to, let's say, generate an image, it's going to begin the generate image block and present us with the output. So now that we know how menu blocks work, we don't have to take a look at the result of this workflow because we saw the menu block. We can move on to the jump block. Now, what the jump block does is it will jump from one workflow and start another workflow, all within the same run. And this block isn't used very often anymore, but it can be used to separate chunks of work. So for example, here I have a user input where we are collecting the topic, and rather than going to the end block, what we are going to do is link this to the jump block here. And this jump block, all you need to do is select the workflow that you'd like to jump to. So I'm going to have it jump to this jump end block, which is going to write a poem about the topic and then display that poem to us. So one thing you will notice if we select the jump end workflow is that variables are passed from one workflow to another when you're jumping blocks. So you can see the variable is created in the first workflow, and then it will be passed through this second workflow here. So let's go ahead. We will make this our entry workflow, and then let's go ahead and test this out by opening up the draft agent. So let's say we want to write a poem about dogs in space, and then we can wait for this background message to finish, and we can see that we have our new poem about dogs in space. And when we look at the debugger here, you'll see that we had the user input, we then jumped to a new workflow, and that topic variable was passed along into that new generate text block. It was able to receive that variable in that new workflow. So again, this isn't used very often, but it can be used to help yourself organizationally as you're building things out. Or if you have a workflow that you are reusing, and you can use the jump block in order to just jump to that reusable workflow. Okay, the next block that we're going to talk about is the logic block. And the logic block allows AI to do the decision making. It's very similar to the menu block, only in this case, you are presenting those conditional cases for the AI to make that decision rather than a human to make that decision. So you can see here that I have a workflow, and in this workflow, we're going to have a comment in the workflow. Now we're going to decide whether that comment is positive or is a negative comment. And the way that we're going to display that is we're going to have these display blocks that says your comment was positive or your comment was negative. And both of these will lead to the end block here. So to configure this logic block, what we're going to do is we are going to provide some context for that AI. So we can say something like, you will be presented with a comment. Your task is to determine whether or not the comment overall is positive or negative. And then we will have both of the conditions. So we can include the comment. So let's go ahead and have those tags, comment, and we'll close the tags out. There we go. And then let's include the variable comment, which we are collecting via this user input block. And then we can have the case here. The comment is positive. And let's go ahead and copy this. And we can say the comment is negative. And so if the comment is positive, then we will route it to the positive block. And if the comment is negative, we can click on select destination and route it to the negative block. So let's go ahead and we will set this as our entry workflow and test this out. So we'll open up the draft agent and let's enter either a positive or negative comment. Why don't we enter a negative comment first? We can say, this tutorial sucks. And if we click on the next button, it has made the determination that the comment was negative. Okay, let's go ahead and run this one more time. We can reload the draft where we'll enter a positive comment. We can say, this tutorial was awesome. I learned so much. And when we run this, you can see that it made the decision that this was a positive comment. And when we look inside of the debugger, we should be able to see that determination here. So it's presented with both the options and it chose one option over another. So this one was negative. And then in this case, it was positive. So that is the logic block. Let's go ahead and talk about our last, most complex and potentially most useful block, the checkpoint block. So the checkpoint block allows for human in the loop interactions when an AI is run. So for example, here I have an AI agent and we're going to collect a URL. We're going to scrape that URL and then we're going to generate a LinkedIn post for that particular URL that we are looking to create a post about. Now, rather than posting directly to LinkedIn, we want to have a checkpoint so that we can either approve or reject the post that is presented to us. So we're going to go ahead and add this logic block here, this checkpoint block. And then you'll notice that there are some configurations on the right-hand side. So let's say if we approve the post, maybe we want to post to LinkedIn, and we can add our post to LinkedIn block. So if it is approved, we'll go and post to LinkedIn. If it's rejected, we'll simply end the workflow. And you can see here that we have now the checkpoint all created. There is another mode to this block, and it can be even more useful than simply approving or rejecting something. And that is the revise variable mode. And so what this is going to do is it's going to present the information directly to the user and allow the user to revise that variable if they'd like. So we can say something like, here is the post. We can include the description of the post. So in this case, we will save this as a variable called post. And then back inside the checkpoint block, we can include our variable post. And for the labels, we can just write the text for labels. So I'm just going to type approve or reject. And we still have it routing on approve to post to LinkedIn and on reject go to the end block. We will then enter our target variable. In this case, this is also the post, because this is the variable that we're going to want to revise. And there are a couple of revision modes. There's the chat mode, and then there's the custom editor. I recommend that you use the chat mode because it will allow you to chat with the AI and make modifications to the thing that is generated. So let's go ahead and label the variable here. We will call this post. And the variable type is text. And we can also have some revision guidance beforehand. So any additional context. This is meant to be an engaging LinkedIn post. Take into account the user's sensibilities. And then when we run this block, we will now be able to see in the draft agent. Let me just double check to make sure. Oh, I don't have my post here, so I'm just going to add the post content here. There we go. And when we go ahead and run the draft agent here, let me set the entry flow. We should be able to see first the URL. So let's go to The Verge. It's going to pull the article inside of our draft agent, and then it's going to scrape the contents of that article and draft the post up for us. Now, when that happens, we're going to be presented with a screen where we can actually revise the variable. So you can see here that this is the post that was presented to us, and it will be posted exactly like this, all the text from the post. Now, you have a couple of options at this point. You can approve it, in which case it'll go to the approved route. It will reject, which will end the workflow. We can edit manually, meaning if we simply click edit manually, we have a text editor, and now we can delete things like this. You can see we don't want that initial line from the AI that says here's a LinkedIn post. And now we can save this, and we can continue writing our post out. We can also chat with the AI to revise this for us. We can say, can you make this a bit more structured? And then it's going to revise this post here. So you can see now it is adding some structure to our post. And you can see the lines that were edited. It looked like it took away 8 lines and added 16 lines here. It also gave us some things that it did in our post, and then we can continue chatting with it to continue modifying our post using AI. And then when we're ready, we can either approve or reject it, and it will go to the various places where we've routed it within our workflow. In this case, create a LinkedIn post or end the workflow. So that is all for routing blocks. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you liked the video, leave us a like. If you have additional questions, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe to more updates to MindStudio. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.